Prologue. The year is 1191. Acre smoulders under the weight of iron and blood. The Third Crusade grinds like a rusted blade, its holy fervour drowned in the screams of the besieged. Within the fractured city, two souls orbit a collision course. Sir Alaric de Montfort, a disgraced Templar knight haunted by the massacre at Hattin, and Layla bint Nasir, a widowed healer who smuggles secrets beneath her veil. Their worlds are divided by faith, bound by guilt. Chapter 1. The Broken Cross. Alaric's sword arm trembles as he carves another notch into the charred timbers of Acre's eastern gate. 10 weeks of siege, 10 weeks of rotting corpses, dysentery, and the stench of betrayal. The Crusaders' camp is a festering wound. Men pray to God by dawn and drown in looted wine by dusk. When a Saracen arrow strikes his squire, Alaric drags the boy to a hidden apothecary's den. There, he meets Layla, her eyes a coal-rimmed defiance. "Your God demands blood," she says, stitching the squire's wound with hands steadied by rage. "Mine demands mercy, which is holier." Alaric has no answer. He recognizes the silver dagger at her belt, a twin to his own, forged in Sicily, traded for a brother's life long ago. Chapter 2. The Dagger's Edge. Layla's knights belong to the resistance. She slips through Crusader lines, relaying messages inked in saffron on goat parchment. Her husband, a scholar, died defending Acre's library, his throat slit by Frankish steel. Now she tends the enemy to survive, memorizing their weaknesses. But Alaric is different. He flinches at the call to pillage. He returns her dagger, lost in the squire's blood, with a whispered shukran. They meet in stolen moments. She teaches him the Arabic word for forgiveness. He shares stories of his sister, burned as a heretic for defending a Jewish midwife. "We are all apostates in someone's holy war," Layla says. Chapter 3. The Burning Archive. King Richard's final assault begins at midnight. Alaric is ordered to torch the last standing mosque, a stronghold of infidel resistance. Inside, he finds Layla guarding a vault of manuscripts, Avicenna's medicine, Alhazen's optics, maps of the stars. "Burn them," his commander snarls, "and her." The dagger gleams in the firelight. Layla presses its hilt to his palm. "Choose," she says, "between heaven's lie and the truth you know." Alaric sees his sister in the flames. He strikes his commander, sheaths the blade, and heaves a lit torch into the Nilestone well, quenching the fire. The manuscripts are saved. Layla escapes into the shadows. Chapter 4. The Unwritten Epilogue. At dawn, Alaric is branded a traitor. Bound in chains, he awaits execution, the desert wind carving his confession into the dunes. Layla watches from a smuggler's ship, his dagger cold against her heart. She writes their story in margins of the text she saved, a chronicle of a knight who chose mercy over glory, a healer who weaponized memory. The crusade marches on, Acre falls. But in Damascus, a book survives, its pages whispering, "The greatest wars are not won by swords, but by the hands that refuse to wield them." Part 2. The Ink of Forgiveness. Chapter 5. The Scholar's Debt, Damascus, 1220. A one-armed scribe named Khalid al-Mahir pores over a manuscript in the House of Wisdom, his quill trembling. The text is anonymous, its margins scrawled with a Frankish knight's confession and a healer's laments. Khalid, once a soldier who fled Acre's fall, recognizes the dagger in the sketches. His dagger, traded to a Sicilian merchant for safe passage. Guilt gnaws him. He translates the story into 3 tongues, smuggling copies to Cairo, Cordoba, and a monastery in Provence. In the margins, he adds his own plea: "Let the world remember what holy wars erase." Chapter 6. The Traitor's Psalm, Acre, 1191, Conti. Alaric's chains chafe raw his wrists, but it is the silence that breaks him. No prayers, no jeers, only the distant sea. At dusk, a shadow slips into his cell. Brother Mathieu, a priest spy who once sold secrets to Saladin's scouts. Your healer's friends are persuasive, he mutters, picking the lock. Go. A Genoese ship waits at the harbour. Alaric hesitates. Why? Mathieu's smile is bitter. I too loved a heretic. The escape is a blur of alleys and blood. But as Alaric boards the ship, Crusader horns blare. Layla's voice echoes in his skull. Run, remember. Tel Aviv, 2023. Doctor. Leah Cohen, an Israeli archaeologist, brushes sand from the dagger's blade. The inscription, to the god of lost causes, matches fragments of a manuscript found in a Damascus archive, now ash in Syria's war. Her hands shake. Her grandfather survived the siege of Leningrad, clutching a page of Khalid's translation. The past is a ghost, he'd say, but ghosts demand answers. Leah tracks the dagger's path. Sicily, Marseille, Auschwitz, stolen from a rabbi's corpse. Then here. She emails Professor Rana Haddad, a Lebanese historian safeguarding salvaged Syrian texts. This isn't just our story, Leah writes. Meet me in Cyprus, Provence, 1244. A weathered copy of Khalid's manuscript surfaces in a Cathar fortress before the Albigensian Crusade raises it. A knight-turned-heretic, Etienne de Clairvaux, reads Alaric's confession aloud as smoke chokes the halls. We are not saints, he laughs, weeping. We are echoes. The pages burn, but not before a scribe girl memorizes the words, sewing them into her hem as she flees. 2023. Leah and Rana meet in a Nicosia safe house, the dagger between them. Rana's scarred hands unfold a photocopy, Khalid's margin notes. Your dagger's twin is in Aleppo, she says. Assad's forces looted it, but my sources say it's here. A map glows on her phone, a militia-held warehouse. Leah's phone buzzes. A warning from her university. Disengage. The artifact is politically sensitive. Rana's eyes harden. They fear what the dagger proves, that we've always been each other's monsters and saviours. They drive north at midnight. Acre, 1191, Comte. Layla's ship founders off Cyprus. She washes ashore, the dagger and manuscript sealed in oilskin. A Venetian merchant buys her silence with a new name, Sophia. For years she whispers Alaric's story to sailors, weavers, anyone who'll carry it. On her deathbed in a Crete slum, she gives the dagger to a Jewish dye seller. When the world forgets, she rasps, make them remember. 2023. The warehouse burns. Leah and Rana crawl through smoke, clutching the twin daggers. Outside, Rana presses a USB drive into Leah's hand. Digital scans of Khalid's work. Publish it. Everywhere. Leah hesitates. They'll call it a lie. All truth begins as heresy, Rana says. In Damascus, a child salvages a half-charred page from rubble. It reads, "The greatest wars,